Good morning, YouTube subscribers and friends and alike. It's Grant coming at you from Miles City, Montana. I'm down here by the library. Just wanted to show you something. With the car off, the radio stays on for that 15 minutes. You know, that's nothing new. It's been in every car since 2000 or 2001. It's nice to have when you're just driving around and while you're waiting on somebody to pick somebody up and stuff like that in your normal everyday life. But when you're living in a car, you go to sleep at night. Basically, I have to wait 15 minutes for the radio to shut off, which is about the time it takes me to guess to change and do the little stuff I want to do before going back to bed. But it's a little annoying. Yes, I could shut the radio head itself off, but it still drains power, either which way, whether the speakers are playing or not. So I figure if my car is going to be sitting there draining power to the battery for 15 minutes since I didn't open the doors, anyway, I might as well have the radio going. Yes, one could open the door like you're supposed to do and then it'll shut off, because it expects you to leave the car instead of sleeping in it like I'm doing. But the problem with doing that is once you crack a window or you open a door or anything, you lose what heat you had in here. And then if it's been a while, you lose your body heat. Is the only thing that's keeping the interior cab warm that late at night is your body heat after that. And to me, just to open the door just to shut the radio off and then shut the door again, not to mention it kills your stealth factor if you park in a neighborhood somewhere. Stupid little annoying things like that I've noticed in a week of car camping. It's been about a week since my last radio, and a week since I've been out of the apartment and been car camping for a week while going to work. It has its challenges, I guess. I mean, when I was traveling the country, I might work I don't remember how many, 3 or 4 days out of a month, if I was lucky, at Labor Ready. In places just enough for some food and some gas and on the road again. Working constantly all week long, a 40-hour work week at Walmart while living in the car comes up with its own challenges. But that's one of the main things I've noticed is the radio stays on 15 minutes longer than I prefer. One day down the line, if I end up with a lot of money and don't care about spending it on this or that, I'm going to put a car starter in here, and then that way when you're in the sleeping bag or whatever on a cold night, or if you're in here on a hot night and you want to run the AC, whichever, you can just hit the car starter button, hold it down a couple seconds, and it starts up from within your bag or back there in the back, so you don't have to constantly reach up here to hit the ignition to turn the car on or to turn the car off. And the car starters are rigged to run for 15 minutes like the radio, and then if you don't use the car or anything within that time, it warms the car up and shuts it back off to save on your gas. And they usually range between $200 and $300 depending on what kind of car starter you get. But that's the thing, is most people go, you need a car starter when you're living in your car. I don't need it. It would just be beneficial to have, especially on the colder nights when you're in a sleeping bag and you want to wake up in the morning to a cold car. Everything else outside of your sleeping bag is cold, maybe even up to 20 degrees colder than what you are in the sleeping bag. All you have to do is push the button, wait for your car to warm up, and then get out and enjoy your life. That would be worth my time. That also, and the fact that maybe someday I might get an off-factory stereo system, and in which case, while they're tinkering in it with it, maybe they'll have a switch put in where while the switch is on, it'll run like the normal car does, where the radio will stay on for 15 minutes after you shut the key off without, until you open your door of your car up like all the new ones have. Or it'd have a switch where it shuts off with the ignition. I know you can route that in the fuse box to the ignition switch on a fuse and a wire for that. So I was thinking I might do that someday, depending. But again, this is a step-up kind of car. I'm just using it for the car buying credit history. Planning on having it between 6 months and maybe a year out, maybe longer than that, depending on how much I like it or how much length of time credit history they need to have to get it into a newer car. Once into a newer car, it'd be worth my time leasing and changing everything out to what I would want the specs for, because you have at least the first 100,000, if not the clear up to 200,000, depending on how you do the maintenance on a new car, which would last you 5-6 years or longer, depending on how often you travel. So that's the gist of it. Oh, the other thing I did learn is in the middle of the night I went to dump out my pee bottle basically, out on the ground. And because I had the doors locked, like you're supposed to on the Switch, when you hit the key fob switch the second time, it arms the car with kind of like a basic car alarm type of thing. I learned because I went to go unhook the manual lock and then open the door at night to dump my bottle out, and the panic button or the car alarm started going off, honking all over the place. I was in a Walmart, I think, at the time when it happened, so it didn't matter. But if I'd have been stealth camping in a neighborhood somewhere or something, I don't want to have to draw attention to myself. So that gets a little annoying. My only other choice is to make sure I have the interior lights override off so that the lights don't come on and the outside lights don't come on. And then I can hit the switch to lock it on the key fob, and then open the door, dump out my jug, close the door, and lock everything back up. So those little things are annoying measures that this newer car has that I haven't had to deal with in the past because I've had older vehicles to deal with. But just little annoying things like that you find out during the week, the first week in the car. The only other thing I will mention is condensation on the windshield, mainly, more than anything. Somewhat on the back window too, but in the mornings I have condensation on the window that goes about 3/4 of the way across there. And yes, I know, again, I could crack a window and that would solve that problem. But if I crack a window, I might as well be sleeping out there on the pavement or out there on the ground in my sleeping bag, because there's no difference between the car and the ground at that point. If you don't try to keep your body heat in the sleeping bag conserved in your car. And by cracking a window and stuff like that, yeah, you would keep down on the condensation, but you lose any body heat that's basically floating around inside your car, helping to keep your car warmer at night. Lately I've noticed it's about 32 degrees right at the freezing point. It's somewhere between 6 o'clock and midnight, and then so it must drop down to between 18 and 20 degrees overnight in the sleeping bag, which is not great. I mean, it's feasible, I can do it. I have a sleeping bag that's rated to like -40, so in the sleeping bag I'm fine, but outside of the sleeping bag it's probably at least a 20-degree difference in cold weather. That part about Montana kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, that part about car camping in Montana kind of sucks. But there are other issues. I mean, other places I could be and whatever. Yeah, I could have stayed in the apartment another month, but I would have been behind on my bills, and this is the faster way to get ahead. Next month, this is the month of March I'm talking about. Next month, the 1st of April onward, I should be making between $870 and $900 take home, give or take, out of each paycheck. And of that, my bills are only about $300 out of each paycheck after I get the car payment split up and my car insurance and phone paid, because that's the only bills I have besides gas and food. So $300 out of a $900 paycheck, $600 of that each paycheck is mine for food and gas and whatever I want to spend it on out of each one, which is $1,200 a month, because I'm not paying rent, I'm not paying electric, I'm not paying for Wi-Fi, bunch of stuff like that other people plan on doing. And the one thing I've noticed about working a 40-hour work week, and when you have that big of a paycheck, it seems like just because you have it, I wouldn't say I have to say you have to spend it, but you have to find reasonable things to spend it on, is what the feeling is. And that's how this system easily sucks people into saying, yeah, you need Wi-Fi to be happier, yeah, you need new car payments to be happier, yeah, you need this big old 60-inch smart TV to be happy, and so on and so forth. Because to go to work every day, a 40-hour work week or longer, some people even work longer than that, they have to justify their means, or they have to justify the reason for getting out there and working in order to make themselves feel happy about working. I, on the other hand, would like to go back the other way. I'm gonna move south, of course, by wintertime, mainly because I'm camping my car and there's no point in literally freezing ass in my car, and because it can get down to like -20 around Miles City, Montana, if it wanted to. It hasn't been that bad this winter, but it could. Has been known to do it in the past, and therefore I'd rather be in the desert down south, someplace in New Mexico or Arizona. I'm still looking at a place, a few 5 or 6 choice places I might check out. The places I'd be happy with is somewhere above 8,000 or 10,000 people, and less than, or right around, or less than 250,000 people. Because if you get higher than 250,000, you get a whole bunch of homeless people taking up a bunch of your resources and basically a bunch of jobs and everything else. And when you go down south, you have to fight with people who are willing to take less wage for the same job you are to better themselves and send stuff back home to their family and whatever. I'm not going to mention who and what, but you all know the southern border problems. Ish, give or take. I'm not going to go into the whole deal, but I'm going to have to take a little bit of a pay cut to go down south in order to stay in the car and keep car camping. But as long as it's only not, doesn't go below probably $10 an hour, I think I consider it be worth it, dropping from 14 to 10 if I had to. I'm not saying I'd want to, but if I had to, in terms of being able to continue living this lifestyle in a car comfortably. I could continue living that lifestyle up here in Montana, but it wouldn't be very comfortable. So those are things I'm thinking about lately. I'm gonna go into the library today, try to fix my other YouTube channel up. And what I was thinking about earlier is I might start to edit snippets, or whatever they call it, those compilations where you put little bits of each video, the best content that I think I have in each video together, and then post them into a video, and then delete the more boring content. Kind of a revisitation of all my travels, stuff like that. Start in like a series of it, like takes all my videos of Arizona, for example, or something, put them all together with the best content in each state. Either go by each state or each kind of car I was in, or however I was doing it, and just gonna watch my older videos and see. But I have about 650 videos uploaded because I was doing vlogging almost every day when I was out there traveling, because there was stuff to see and do. And that's the other reason why I haven't been vlogging up here lately, because it's the same scenery. I haven't even found any decent campers to show you. And besides my car camping, that's about the only newest thing on the list. Bed setup's still the same. I have body pillows to put on the side bumpers, because if you roll around at night and you hit the cold wall of the car, that can wake you up, among other things. It's just things I've learned while I've been on the road. So I have a body pillow I put on each side, and then the mattress, and my 2 sleeping bags that combine together in a military sleeping system. That's about, I forget, it was like between $150 to $200 worth or something for that military sleeping bag system. Well worth it. I mean, I don't even need a heater in that thing. You just get in there, and it don't matter if it's 18 degrees outside of the car. In here, it's in the bag itself, it's a nice, comfortable 60 or 70 degrees from your body heat. So it's something worth investing into if you don't have the room or the space for a heater. Anyway, that's a combination of a lot of thoughts I've been thinking of lately. I'm going to go to the library and upload some videos, or get them edited anyway, figure out some editing software to do that, and fix my other YouTube channel. And once I have new stuff posted, I will let you know in the next video. Like and subscribe, leave comments, and we'll catch you in the flip. Peace.